All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. 2019 Lead and Speed Championships here at Allez up in Montreal, Quebec. The sun came out this afternoon. We finished all our semifinals. Phil Lantier, how are you doing?
Great, Pete. I'm really happy to be here. How about you?
I'm very excited to be here. We saw some great action during the semifinals earlier today, and now they've had a bit of a break. They've had a little bit of a nap, maybe, something to eat. And all categories are climbing in their final, starting in about 5 minutes. They're going to do the introductions, we're going to do the previews, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and we'll be able to show you the routes here just before we get started. Whilst the climbers are previewing, we're presenting the athletes right now in the gym, and the place is packed already, Pete.
Yep, there's a lot of people here. There's, give or take, still a lot of the people will come and watch, so I don't imagine we'll have less than 200 or 300 people in the gym. And we're in for a big show. So let's run down. They're going to run the previews out. We'll just sort of, we'll give you the names as they come across. So Youth C girls, we're going to give you the order that they're going to come out in. So in 8th place, Cedar Hendry, Sydney Kozak, Ellie Stead, Madeline Taylor, Jacqueline Ho, Taylor Galloway, Alexandre Royer, and Evangelina Briggs. That's your Youth C girls.
For the UC boys, we have Hugo Lamarche, Maxime Terrien, Eli Faith, Nathan Cito, Jonah Phillips, Benjamin Liss, Cole McLeod, and Emmanuel Derima.
All right, your Youth B girls. So in 8th to 1st, you have Kieran Mandane, you have Tula Shurkat, Mateja Vukojevic, Sydney Park. We have Mia Laprise, Tegan Chow, Sofiane Bertrand, and Emi Takashiba.
For the Youth B boys, we've got Mathis Imbeau, Owen Clouston, Ian Tan, Logan Jones, Benjamin Chapman, TJ Foley, Dylan Le, and Oscar Borderin.
Okay, and then we have a little bit of an interesting setup for you. For the A, Junior, and Open, what you have to remember is that once you hit Youth A, you are officially an open competitor. So you're able to compete in Open at that age. So what we get for the way the Canadian system is set up is that any of the A and Junior athletes who qualified in a position amongst the Open competitors, they will climb in the Open final later on this evening. Whoever's left in that category from that top 8 will climb in their category right now. So what that looks like is for the women, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A athletes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 junior athletes. So I'll run them down for you. The Youth A women finalists: Aspen Hendry, Ruby Tenen, Brielle Zacharias, Taya Chapman, Lexi Binder. Your junior women: Sierra Jess, Yinky Ying, Kat Karkner, Eve Laprise, Julia Bunko, and Sophie Valence.
Yeah, and for the A men, you've got Jackson McDonald, Braden Stafford, Ben Newman, and Brennan Doyle. For the junior men, you've got Andy Charbonneau, Zachary Mathieu, David Gilbert, Dylan Bokenfor, Kyle Judge, and Aiden Doyle.
Okay, and this a little bit later this evening, so after the these categories are done, we're going to do that. We're going to do the presentation. We're going to have a small break, and then we're going to climb the Open final, and that includes quite a lot of A and Junior athletes. There's only a couple of true Open athletes in those groups, so a good majority of the A and Juniors made their way into the Open final. So it's an interesting setup. That's the way the Canadian system is built right now, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about how the rankings work when we're talking about the Open athletes. But what we've got for you is pretty much the same that we did this morning, in that the C category, both genders are going to climb the same route. In the B category, both genders are going to climb the same route. And then for A and Junior, both A and Junior men climb a route, and then both A and Junior women climb a route. So we're going to give you a look here. This is the Youth C route. We'll just kind of let you glance up and you get a bit more of a closer look. We're not going to give too much away. We'll let you draw your own conclusions as you watch this little nest of volumes here. It's worth noting, Phil, I think that these red dimension bars are not so friendly.
Yeah, they have a part that is and a part that isn't, in the sense that they are dual textured. And so I think our climbers will need to be very aware of this, because there are some traps there. But I think it'll climb really well and technically on that route. And now we've got, well, the route that we're going to be seeing a bit later on tonight, which is the men's. Wait, this is the.
Yep, this is the men's A Junior and Open.
That's right.
So this is a burly piece of work. You look at these three big ball-shaped holds here. There's a couple of little screw-ons on them, and then a lot of slopers. These black edges are flat.
Right. You're going to need power through this section because the wall is still overhanging. And towards the end of that route, you would see quite a few pockets.
And then here we get another look at a bunch of pockets. So this is the A Junior and Open women's route. So this starts basically all pockets.
Yep.
Toutes les pochettes, Phil.
That's right. Beaucoup de pochettes. Et après ça, on se retrouve avec encore plus de pochettes.
Yeah.
Fait que,
Un peu de compression ici, des slopers. We could go a little slower.
Yeah, this is a speed climbing.
A speed preview for
okay,
that's better.
thanks.
That's better.
Yeah. So a bit slower here, and and towards this last section, some technical crimps on some volumes, and some widely spaced moves.
It's a steep part of the wall, that prow, so the women are going to get pushed around a little bit on some steeper climbing. And we were talking to the chief, Caleb Thomas, a little bit earlier, and I believe he was saying that his style of setting, he likes to set slightly better holds, which allows for slightly more committing and interesting movement. So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Right, and that's interesting because usually people at this caliber, at this level of competition, have the finger strength. But do you have the core? Do you have all the endurance necessary to twist your way around, to cross over? That's what we'll see today, Pete.
Do you have the coordination? Can you get the footwork correct? Can you read the sequence? It's not just about grabbing the holds.
Yeah.
This is going to be confusing, I think, in that section.
Yeah.
Some beautiful, we saw these for the first time at Boulder Nationals last year, these
Morpho discs.
Big split volumes. The white parts are dual texture. Yeah,
and you've got some arête climbing. You've got a bit of, some balancy technical movements on not so good holds. So you're going to need to compress. You're going to need to use that and engage your core strength in order to progress.
Yeah, and what we're going to see here is everybody going through their miming process. They're going to try and map out every move. You see them thinking about where they're going to clip. And again, as all previews are, it is in some respects collaborative. And in some respects, some people will choose to not necessarily share with everyone. They'll share with their teammates. Occasionally you get the French athletes will talk to the French athletes, and the English athletes will talk to the English athletes because that's just easier that way. But you do get a lot of collaboration on both the open and junior sides when they're previewing routes. And at the real core of the sport is, I want to win, but I want to see you do well also.
Yeah, absolutely. And, these are people that have been competing against each other on a number of different comps. So there's this camaraderie that instills itself, develops itself, friendships, and sometimes that can develop onto the national team. And you travel the world and you get to represent your country, and that forms even better bonds. We saw it a bit earlier between, I think it was Becca Frangos and
Alison Vest.
That's right. So,
and it's important to remember that there's a lot at stake here. So the way you finish at the national championships decides whether or not you get invited to the selection camp, and whether or not you make the youth team that goes to Youth World Championships, and on the open side, whether or not you get selected to go to World Cups. So if we didn't already ratchet up the pressure on these young athletes, we're ratcheting it up with finals and what is on the table if they climb really well today and they're successful. So we're happy to have you with us. We get a little bit more time to go preview, and then we're going to throw them all out back into isolation. And they're not going to be able to see what's going on. They'll be able to hear from the crowd reaction. It's a lot more difficult in a lead comp to judge where somebody got to by the crowd's reaction. In a bouldering comp, you can gauge if the crowd's cheering right away, it's probably a flash. If the crowd loses their mind, it's probably a top. But here, the crowd will lose their mind if someone gets one hold farther than the previous person.
That's
but
right.
you, as the next person, don't know where that was.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people here, as we mentioned, and they're all psyched as we are to see who's going to be crowned, as new champions in their categories. But also, there will be new champions in the open category as well for both the men and the women, because we've got some athletes that were out in Europe, in Munich to be more precise, for the Bouldering World Cup that was happening there this weekend. So the likes of Alana Yip, Sean McCall, Jason Hollowatch, they are not here today, but they're still representing Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for the final, the Youth C athletes do climb on top rope. It's not a qualifier semi only, so we keep them on top rope for the whole round. Takes a little bit of the fear factor out, of course, and allows them to just focus on rock climbing. So we're going to get down to it. We are moments away from our first Youth C climbers.
It's probably a good time to thank all the people that made this comp possible. We got numerous sponsors that we want to shout out to. So MEC is the CEC series title sponsor. And there's the Government of Canada, the City of Montreal, the Government of Quebec, Dimension Volumes, which you can see many of on the wall, KILTER Grips, FrictionLabs, Chalk, Sterling Ropes, Vivant, who make health bars, and la Fédération Québécoise de Montagne et d'Escalade. So thank you to these sponsors for making this comp possible, and obviously, there's a lot of work that goes around, the Allez Up staff, the judges, the belayers, who have been working hard all weekend, make sure that our climbers are safe. And just a quick update for those of you that might be wondering. So Aurélie Huppé, who had a bit of a scary fall earlier today in the semifinals, will be competing tomorrow in speed. So that's great news coming from her. And so all is good, and thanks to the belayers for keeping our climbers safe and having fun on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to get that news, and it's great to hear that she does plan and will be climbing in speed tomorrow.
On a le MC de la maison, François Parisien, qui est là pour réchauffer la foule, pour ramener l'énergie. Et puis, je pense qu'il fait très bien ça. C'est un habitué du circuit ici au Québec.
Oui, absolument.
And we're off, folks. This finals has begun.
So right off the hop, that's going to be Kieran Mandane. Moving up rapidly, and on the C side,
we got Cedar Hendry. And if I'm not mistaken, Cedar's done something to her hair.
It does look a lot more, it looks quite purple.
It's a lot more purple than it was this morning.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, when you need to color coordinate with your pants.
Exactly.
Right on. If that gives her confidence and,
Yeah, get on it.
Do it.
In the middle of your screen on the right side is Aspen Hendry.
Yeah, so the two sisters climbing at the same time.
Great stuff.
Yeah, that's a good moment. I would be proud as a parent.
Absolutely.
To see both my kids on the wall at the same time.
Climbing in the finals at Open Nationals.
Yeah.
So Aspen making, everybody making pretty quick work of the introductions of their routes, and then getting some thought process going on here. Kieran getting a bit sideways, getting into some business here. Might be a knee bar, maybe not. Looking pretty smooth. Aspen in the pockets. Oh, and Kieran just making a bid for a foothold there. I think she was running out of gas. That black volume is not really meant to be taken as a handhold. But when you're pumped, you go for what's closest.
So I think we've got Jackson McDonald, who's clipped the third draw now on his route. We see him just out of the screen. Oh, great work from the camera crew here.
And meanwhile, Aspen getting into these big scoop slopers.
While Cedar is tackling these dual textured dimension volumes.
Great stuff from Aspen. Just getting pumped out in there.
Yeah, it's a pretty steep part of the wall.
Oh, and that's going to be it. Good work from Cedar Henry, getting into the middle of the business on those dual text volumes. Meanwhile, Jackson getting into the pump fest over here.
Yes, he is. Wrestling with these volumes, and that's not necessarily a stance that you can say is a resting stance.
No, not really. He's not moving, but he's not resting. Slapping his way up these heel hooks. Tula Shurkat over on your right. Good stuff from Jackson bearing down here.
Yeah.
See if he can work his way around. This crossover move here is some kind of heinous.
Yeah. And he opted to put his right heel up, do a hand-foot match.
Yep.
And I don't know if that is necessarily the right strategy to cross over.
No, maybe it feels good at the time. It feels good while you're still sitting on that hold. But we'll see some different sequences through there. But what you're doing is going from a right-facing flat hold to a left-facing flat hold. As you're leaving that right-hand side, it's getting worse and worse and worse. The left hand only starts to get better once you hit it. So at some point, that right hand is really no longer all that functional for you. You got to squeeze really hard to get that going. Ruby Tenen now, snaking her way up there. So on the A and Junior, we're going to see the men and women climbing because they're on separate routes. And then we're going to do all the C girls and B girls first, and then the C and B boys will follow. So if you're wondering why we're seeing only men on one route, that's the A and Junior side of the equation.
Exactly, and we've got on the Youth C route, we've got Sydney Kozak trying to navigate a really uncertain start, to be honest. You have to sort of feel your way up a couple of volumes before actually touching what I would call a legitimate hold.
Exactly.
But she's managed to do that, chalking up.
This is the return of the underclings. I mean, I think if I'm a climber, I'm thinking, really, you gave me another undercling? Can we stop with that?
Yeah. It's going to have them working their biceps back home after so many underclings.
Exactly. And Matea on the bottom right of the right side of your screen. And a big swing from Ruby. Managing to hang on. That's great. Steepest part of the wall. She's showing some real power
and
there.
Clipping off that volume when she had the pocket to the left. Bold choice.
Matea electing to make this move before looking to clip that. Matea Vikujevic coming up just shy of the move that would have got her to that next quick draw. But this is great stuff from Ruby.
Yeah, establishing herself on the face, crossing over as I believe it was intended. So looking good so far.
Exactly. This is a big move here. Got to get your feet up high. The pump's kicking in. Just looking for something clever to do with her feet. I think it's got to come up on that black scoop by her hip. But a bit of a A long move there for sure. So that's going to test how much power's in the bank.
And Sydney Kozak just came peeling off of those sort of geometric volumes in the steeper portion of that route on the C route.
Yeah. There's a dragon. Maybe that's hers, I'm assuming. That's a good luck charm.
Yeah.
For Ella.
That was actually Sydney's, I believe.
Oh, that was Sydney's. That's awesome.
I love that detail. Thanks to the camera crew for picking that up.
Great stuff. So here you get a good look. There is a crimp on the bottom side of that first big volume. There's one on the inside and one on the outside. So they lure you in with a couple of helpful crimps, and then the next two are really just kind of awful.
Right. You would wish for those crimps to keep materializing on the later holds.
Precisely.
But,
so Sydney Park here, third last year in her category. Maybe looking to improve that podium spot this time around. Good energy in the room, if you were wondering. Big crowd. It's funny, there's no intro. There's no time to kind of get warmed up and into it. The crowd gets in here, and then bam, they put them on the wall, and all of a sudden,
it's on.
Your head is on a swivel if you're in here. There's, as we said, there's 4 routes going at a time. Sydney showing some reserves, kicking the feet around. Meanwhile, we have Ben Newman.
It's a really interesting contrast on that route. You have like smaller red holds for your left hand, and you got these big sort of volumes for your right.
Yeah. Oh, making a good strong bid there.
And we're seeing Brielle Zacharias getting higher up on her route. Going to clip the third draw, and here we see Ella Stead, as well as Ben Newman out of British Columbia.
Yeah, so Ben Newman finished 10th on the open side of the field last year. So he's maybe a bit of a deeper field this time around, but definitely climbed himself into 10th place in the whole category last year. He's still got quite a few years left on the circuit. We got Brielle.
Ella fighting on that first red volume, on which we have a couple of screw-on crimps.
And I think what we saw there was a symptom, as you said, the confusing nature of the introduction to that route. Took a lot of gas while she was figuring it out. Oh, Brielle swinging around on the first sloper.
Yeah.
And Ben Newman fighting his way into similar shapes.
That's right. Those ladies not hesitating to show power.
Exactly.
They've got that.
Flex those biceps. So I really like this sequence through here. There's a lot of bringing your feet from left to right, from right to left.
Yeah, and Ben is a boulder competitor as well, so I think he knows how to slap up these big sort of cheetah volumes.
Yeah, but usually he's doing it 10 feet off the ground, not 25.
And yeah, it's interesting. His stance here, he's higher up than the other competitors to clip, but he looks like he's done that casually.
Yep, so this is this proves to be the hardest move.
Wow, and a bold move out right. He tried to get his foot out to stop the momentum, but I think, yeah, he'd punched it too much.
Yeah, you're fighting the pump at that point. It's hard to keep that compression through the middle of your body, and you're thinking about grabbing, you're thinking about jumping, you're thinking about where your foot has to go. There's a lot of risk in that move, a lot of complexity, and that is exactly as designed by the route setters. So they'll be pleased to see somebody get there and really have to work hard to try and make it stick. They want to see the fruits of their labors realized, but not right away.
That's right.
Mia La Prise.
And Madeline Taylor. Donc, Madeline Taylor from Ontario, Mia La Prise from Quebec. Donc,
Climbed really well.
Yeah, in semis, and she actually doubted herself. She was one of the climbers that had topped out, well, not topped, but had gotten really high up on her route. And it's what we were saying a bit earlier. You know, you come off not thinking your performance is enough, but in her case, it was.
It was. And here's the first one to actually make that clip. So she's still got to stick this big power move, but she's going to get...
And Madeline here inching her way up to get to that crimp, and I think she's going to get established onto this more technical portion of the route.
Now this is it's a wonderful looking piece of climbing, and it's a lot of square movement through there.
Yeah.
Taya Chapman on your right, starting off those pockets.
And just like that, we've got maybe 3 competitors left for the Youth B girls. That's how quick this finals is going for them.
So remember, they're running both genders on that route, so they're not expecting the Youth B girls to get to the top of that route. They just want to separate them along the way. But this is good stuff from Madeleine.
Yeah, Madeleine Taylor, getting high up. I think we saw Cedar Hendry get that high up as well with her purple hair a bit earlier.
But no one else.
No, so far those are the only 2 climbers that have been able to have some fun on those dimension volumes, those red rectangular volumes.
Brennan Doyle here. He was second in Youth B last year, so this is his first year in the A side of things, his first crack in an open field. And doing good stuff.
Oh, catches it. Wow.
Really good save. That's going to have a cost, but Taya Chapman swinging around. I think I saw her let out a yell. Good stuff, Taya. Brennan managed to recoup and recover.
Yeah, looking for another jib that might not be there.
He's definitely hoping for that. Taya Chapman, une fille locale d'ici à Montréal.
Oui. Donc, c'est certain que vous entendez la foule derrière elle parce que c'est justement une grimpeuse d'Allez Up. Alors, la foule qui l'applaudit. Bravo, Théa.
Brennan Doyle getting a questionable rest. I'm not going to use the word lightly, but getting a few shakes. Meanwhile, we have Tegan Chow getting into what has become the business for the Youth B girls. Getting this clip dialed in. Let's see what she can do on this big move. A lot of leg power actually involved here. It's leg and core more than arms. You're not going to see her need to bend that right arm too much.
And it's all about getting your hips like close to the wall in this movement and generating a lot with your feet.
Yep.
And I think that's what the competitors have had a hard time in doing.
Oh, so she just missed and Brennan Doyle stuck the foot stab.
Yeah, that was some simultaneous action but different outcomes for sure. So this constitutes a high point for
the A boys.
That's right.
So Brennan Doyle, the last of the A boys, so he's currently secured himself a win.
Yep, I think that's what it takes.
Oh, good stick.
With Ben Newman in second. BC boys.
BC boys getting it done. Couple big, powerful moves. This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, getting to see the top moves. And, you know, Brennan here is a tall guy, perhaps.
Maybe helping out, and a strong guy.
Yeah. Will we get to see these final moves being done?
No. Just couldn't quite get the feet sorted. A little bit pumped. And that's going to do it. Really, really good climbing from Brennan Doyle. That's going to be a well-deserved win.
Meanwhile, Jacqueline Ho on the C route.
Saw her do the splits at the bottom, just off camera. So we know that she's pulling all the tricks out. And we see Lexi Binder.
Last climber out for the A category.
also moving well.
Jacqueline Ho's fighting to get more weight onto her hip and left heel, and she manages to do that.
Get a bit of a knee scum. All available weapons.
All no holds barred.
No holds barred. No limbs barred.
Yeah, and Jacqueline, I remember her. She just cupped her face in her hands off the semifinals. She'll probably want to do better, even though she actually had climbed really well.
Exactly.
On what was a really hard route that had a very distinct crux halfway through it.
Lexi here making good work.
And it's Lexi showing how strong she is right here. And not many climbers have gotten to this point. I think the only one we had before was Ruby Tenen that had gotten up established on this pocket.
And then this big powerful move coming up. Just off the side of your screen, we saw Sofiane Bertrand fall a shade early. I think she will look back on that and wish she'd be able to stick a few extra holds, but this sort of slow grinding power. Wow. Lexi Binder making it happen.
Amazing power.
Can't she get a toe over there to establish for this clip?
She's still looking really solid.
Hugging this big sort of double round volume.
Despite the fatigue. And
Andy Charbonneau qui commence la voie, le premier de les hommes juniors.
Oui, c'est ça, Andy Charbonneau, je crois, du centre d'escalade Le Crux. Alors, c'est un grand grimpeur qui nous a démontré aussi beaucoup de ténacité jusqu'à présent.
We saw Lexi Binder with the high point for her category, so she's going to take home a Youth A podium as well. That's a good win. And just like that, this is how fast this goes. The A categories are finished. We're into the juniors. We have one climber left on the Youth B girls and two climbers left on the Youth C girls. So we're moving quickly right now. On reste avec Andy. On commence avec des gros boules. La section frustrant, je pense.
And Andy clipped that last draw with a really small crimp hold, and he was shaking his fingers afterwards. Hopefully he'll be able to relax that right forearm of his for what's coming up. Alors Andy qui...
Oh, swing and a miss from Andy. Can he reel it in?
Ouais.
Resetting his feet.
Allez, Andy.
Il cherche les prises qui sont pas là, but another save. Andy Charbonneau. Third time. Not enough in the tank. Emi Takashiba. This is, you stick this next hold. This is your podium, Emi. Just got to make one move, girl.
And there you go.
Well done, Emi Takashiba. Showing you what that move looks like and more.
Meanwhile, we've got also on the left side of the screen, we've got Taylor Galloway, who qualified third. So we're in the last three climbers here for the Youth C category of the ladies.
Oh, Emi still trucking.
Yeah.
These are bad holds for the angle that they're on. That I assure you.
Yeah, you gotta keep your tension in your core, and I mean, she looks casual there, but you know that there's a...
She's fighting, yeah. That's a great fight from Emi Takashiba. Wonderful stuff.
And so, Taylor Galloway here, inching her way up, getting that crimp. We've seen a lot of her fellow competitors using the same strategy, and from there on, she can switch to a toe on that left foot and start to reach out left, sorry.
Sierra Jess is on the right of your screen.
And we've got Zachary Mathieu de Centre d'Escalade d'Élire, je crois, à Québec. Zachary qui fait de la compétition depuis un bon nombre d'années, qui devient de plus en plus fort, évidemment. Fait que On va voir qu'est-ce qu'il est capable de faire ici dans cette voie.
Il y a assez de chambres d'escalade en Montréal qui a la même hauteur d'ici. Canyon Escalade, c'est un gros gymnase. Donc, c'est pas que c'est... il y a des autres gymnases qui vous donnent la chance de tester votre endurance. Donc, c'est pas comme un choc. Tu viens ici au national, puis soudainement, il faut grimper un autre 3-4 mètres. Il a la chance d'entraîner dans les facilités qui sont assez haut qu'aller up ici.
Oui, c'est ça. Habituellement, les gyms, puis on en discutait un peu plus tôt, puis ils sont faits sur un 10 mètres.
Ouais.
C'est standard. Mais là, ici, on en a 15. Puis en tout cas, moi, je sais que quand je grimpe ici, personnellement, mes avant-bras s'en rappellent que c'est 15 mètres parce que c'est très difficile le dernier panneau, puis ça travaille énormément d'endurance. Et là, on voit ici Zachary Mathieu qui trouve une forme de prise là, sur le deuxième volume Cheetah qui est dans cette section assez soutenue et surplombante du mur.
Et c'est les micro-mouvements dans les prises gros comme ça. Donc tu prends la prise, tu bouges la main droite, tu bouges la main gauche, tu bouges tes pieds, tu bouges la main droite encore. Donc il y a beaucoup de petits mouvements qui sont contenus dans les mouvements entre les gros prises comme ça. Donc c'est 3 prises de la mule, mais c'est 5, 6, 7, 8 mouvements dans cette petite espace.
Tout à fait.
En fait, c'est difficile, des gros prises comme ça.
Oui, puis c'est très bloc, ça sollicite beaucoup la puissance. Alors, puis ça, c'est après que tu aies déjà fait peut-être une quinzaine de mouvements.
Oui.
Fait que c'est sûr que ton niveau de fatigue, ton rythme cardiaque va faire en sorte que ça rend les choses d'autant plus difficiles. Alors, c'est pour ça que ça rend assez impressionnant l'effort de Brennan Doyle qu'on a vu tantôt se rendre vraiment là, très, très haut là, pour la catégorie A.
Absolument.
Donc, on va aussi avoir Alexandre Royer sur la voie C, juvénile C.
And we're going to get Yinky Ying. We just saw her stepping up to the wall for her start of her climb. As we mentioned, still they get a minute to look at the route again if they want before they must start climbing. We get a good look at the start of this C route just so you can kind of piece together what we saw earlier with the movements that are required to get through here.
The bass is pumping.
It is. I don't know if you can hear or feel that. The bass is pushing through in the gym.
Making its way into your living room.
Yinky moving well through the start of this route. We see David Gilbert on the bottom corner of the left side while we watch Evangelina as the last Youth C girl up this route.
Yeah.
So middle of those triangle or those rectangular volumes is where she needs to get to have a shot at the podium.
Yeah. And she came in second last year, so you know this is her last year as a Youth C. So she'll probably want to go out with a bang, right?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Oh, she's fighting and.
Oh no!
But that's Alexandre. That's Alexandre Royer. Yeah.
My mistake. My mistake. I'm equally disappointed.
Right. Obviously.
She's no less disappointed because she's not Evangelina, but yeah, that's it's hard to fall low. So we see Yinky moving through the scoops, and David sizing up. Oh, Yinky trying to match in that scoop. She might regret that decision. Maybe the right thing to do was to just take that power and move out left to that black crimp, but she did try to make a match on what is a very small crimp. Oh, David Gilbert winding up to try and go around the outside. It's a really long way. Most of the success we've seen is climbers going essentially as a Gaston, and then kind of worming their way onto the hold, and he tried to wrap it compression style.
Yeah, there seems to be actually a hold on it. On the second hold, just a bit to the left, maybe at I'd say 10:30 o'clock on it. Seems to be like a hold that people have been using right-hand Gaston before crossing over. So here we have Mathis Imbeau.
The first of our youth B-boys.
That's right. And Evangelina Briggs has pulled on to this route, her being the last competitor for the Youth C athletes.
Taking our first look at the boys in this movement. Let's see an interesting right high heel hook there. That just looks awkward. Oh, I think he thinks he's made a mistake. Hands to the face immediately.
Yeah, we mentioned this a bit earlier, but you know, in lead comps, you've got one chance and one chance only to make a good impression. Unlike bouldering where you have a specific amount of time, I mean, you can miss a flash, but you don't have those options or that luxury in lead climbing.
No, and that's why you'll watch these guys and girls fight for one extra hold. So we used to, we scored as every hold on the route has a point value. So if there's 50 holds on the route, the last hold is 50, and we just count them all the way back down. You get points for controlling the hold or moving off of it. So you get 20 or 20 plus if you make a positive climbing movement off of the hold. There used to be minuses where you could sort of just slap at a hold. As long as you touched it, you got a minus. We've removed that from the scoring internationally, and now you either have the hold or you've moved from it, and that's how we determine. And I think we'll see on the open side of the field, when we look at the 8th place climber, the split between 8th and 9th, the count back was to qualifier 1, and it was a difference of a plus.
So Evangelina Briggs here was trying to reach out right and finally has revised her method to use the one that has seen best success from her other colleagues.
Perching in that small space. Kat Kartner, meanwhile, looking pretty good here.
Yeah, sort of cruising that section, to be honest. That crossover didn't seem to give her too much of a hard time.
No, you're correct.
Meanwhile, Dylan Bokenfour, who's just outside the edge, is wrestling and holding on for his life right here.
Evangelina getting some shakes. She's noticing the start of that route. Here's the powerful move. Kat Kartner double clutched it a bit, wound up and didn't really have enough gas. It's hard to reel that in and go again. Might be one of the hardest things to do is to wind up and recover and have to wind up a second time.
Yeah, and Evangelina just towing up this. If she gets that black hold, then she wins. And there you go.
There you go.
Victory secured for Evangelina Briggs. All the rest here is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, so from a scary moment, trying to get into that second rectangular volume to calm, cool, and collected, making moves. So we got Owen Clouston on the right of your screen. Getting up into these white and red side poles, and Evangelina escaping the dual text into the land of the slopers. I don't know which is better or which is worse. But the top of this route is no joke either.
No, it isn't.
And I believe I heard Caleb Thomas say if Evangelina brings the gun show, she might top this thing, and he is slowly proving him right. Really good effort from Evangelina Briggs.
Absolutely. And that's it for the UC girls, and you're just seeing the winner here coming off the route. So victory for Evangelina Briggs and improving upon her last year's results. So bravo, Evangelina.
As you said, go out with a bang. Owen Clouston being careful here, sort of reversing his foot placements, Trying to get some opposition in play here. But that left leg started shaking immediately as soon as he moved it.
Yeah, and he stabbed for that, you know, sort of really rounded kilter edge. Having peeled off those before myself, I know that they don't have that, you know, that edge that you would like.
They're not giving a lot back.
No, they're stingy.
They are very stingy. Kyle Judge with his hat on the wrong way.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep.
I had a feeling.
Never change. If it works for you, it works for you. By all means. I just, I can't see a route when I look up. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe he keeps like the spotlight out of his eyes.
Oh, perhaps. Perhaps. Yves la prise. Commence la voie des pochettes.
Et on va accueillir Hugo Lamarche, premier grimpeur de la catégorie juvénile C pour les hommes.
I was speaking about this women's route a little bit earlier to Oscar and Nick, and I mistakenly called it La Voie des Poches. And he told me that in Montreal slang, that's not something that I need to be calling this route. So I've made a mental note. La voie des pochettes.
Oui.
Ou les trous. Mais pas la voie des poches. Oh, big swing.
Yeah, powerful move from Eve. Eve la prise de délire. Alors,
so it looks like she's not going to go heel hook. Or maybe she's saving it, but interesting style here, interesting decision, and it's working for her. She goes heel hook late.
Yeah, I don't know if that's helping her out because it seems like the positioning of her heel is a lot more tenuous.
As we've seen.
And this is a nice close-up for Kyle Judge here, and you can see the small jib he's cupping with his left hand, so there is a hold. It was hidden there by some crafty route setters.
Yep, and covered in chalk. We got Ian Tan on the right of your screen. Getting through the powerful section into the dicey section. So we haven't seen anyone get here in a while. Kyle Judge giving us a renewed look at the big, powerful move between these black side pulls.
Yeah, reaching in for that clip. Some of these clips that we've seen have been spicy, to say the least.
Exactly. You either got to cross under, cross over, or just be uncomfortable. It's a good look for Ian at what he's got in store. So he's come through the first crux and still has a lot of rock climbing to do.
Yeah, crosses over whilst having his feet out right, which I think shows that the man can compress.
He can bear down.
And
good stuff. It's, again, a taller climber. I think Kyle Judge has got to be 6 feet and a bit.
Right, making good use of his height and really getting a crafty heel hook high up.
Yeah, but you still need to stick the stab. It doesn't matter how tall you are. You need to drop that foot down. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that statically.
Well, he's going to have to go put his left hand back up onto the volume to the left. So
changed his sequence for a rest. Oh. Yeah. And
interesting downward move.
Yeah, I really like that move. I really like it. It's kind of rejected all comers to this point, but we still have the open category to climb. So I assure you we'll see that get stuck.
Yeah, and we saw Brennan Doyle, earlier on do it convincingly, and also I think Ben Newman.
Oh, correct, yeah.
Did it as well. And now we've got Hugo Lamarche. Oh, and as I was mentioning him, I think his left heel came off. Donc bravo à Hugo.
Julia Bunko, the second last of the junior climbers. Getting a few little shakes in with a high heel hook.
Yeah, I don't know. Does she want to commit? There we go. She knew what she wanted to do.
Exactly. Controlling the swing. And then going heel hook right away. And then not so much. So you got to test the move. You see it, you mime it, you picture it, and when you go to try it, you got to adapt immediately. Is it working? Is it not working? It's good to make the movement, but obviously, as we saw, not good for her to make the clip. So the position was wrong to clip, but it was good for movement. So this is the beauty of the subtlety of route climbing is, you know, you would think it would be exactly the same to clip the draw or make the move, and you get examples of that all the time where, nope, it's not what you need to do. So, and she's obviously pretty psyched.
Yeah, Julia showing us that she's in good spirits.
Oh, that's spicy. And Aiden Doyle, oh my goodness.
That's disappointing for him for sure. I
think Aiden Doyle is going to go, and he is not going to be happy about that. So slipped while clipping that draw at the very, very beginning of his route. Oh, yeah. Man, it hurts. I hate to see that, Phil. I hate to see that.
I do, too. First of all, because you're concerned for their safety, first of all, falling off the first draw, but also because you know that was well within his abilities and that you want climbers to fall because they're pumped out of their minds and not because of some technical mistakes.
Yeah. And, yeah, I feel for him. My heart goes out to Aiden. Coming out last in junior, that was his podium to take. And he's going to need a little bit of time for that to become something that he's settled with. Yeah, as we said, a lot of pressure. Don't forget, they're youth athletes. You know, some of these, especially some of the boys look like men. They're big boys, but they're not even 19 years of age yet. So
yeah, and props to them for being here and engaging the process, and you know, climbing in front of hundreds of people like this. I tip my hat to them because they've got a lot of guts.
Absolutely.
And right here we got Maxime Terrien, who's got guts as well, and just peels off that sort of technical sequence.
Just running out of gas. Lots of guts, not quite enough gas in the tank. And our last junior climber, Sophie Valence du Québec. La grimpe est assez fort ce matin.
Oui. C'était rendu en fait de manière assez convaincante, assez haut, dépasser un petit crux qui n'était pas très haut sur le mur, mais qui a donné du fil à retordre à pratiquement toutes les compétitrices ce matin. Alors, il va être intéressant de voir jusqu'où elle peut progresser sur cette voie.
Et on ne reste plus de gens sur le Juvenile A et puis les juniors. Donc, on a juste Sophie et à les deux côtés. Les Juvenile B puis les C. Bon mouvement fort de Sophie. La première crux the first real power crux of this route.
Yeah. It's the moment where you need to sort of, you need to commit. You know, your feet almost automatically cut, and you have to reel that in.
Just not latching that left-hand crimp. ComSeason is going to have the results for you. It all happens a bit too fast for us to look at the route maps and try and score these routes on the fly. That's going to put her in a good spot. That might be enough for a podium.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of climbers who did sort of stick that move and work a little bit past. I think maybe Yves Laprise. Kat Karkner might have got up there. So have a look at ComSeason if you want to know the results before the podiums, or just bear with us, kind of watch the climbing play out. We got Logan Jones on your right, and we got
we've got Eli Faith.
So that's all we got left right now. Youth B boys and Youth C boys making their way up these routes. Logan Jones sticking the big power move.
Yeah, he's done well. Has to engage with those volumes before establishing himself on those white crimps.
You see him really, watch that heel hook that he's trying to place. Is every time he puts it in, it's sliding down. It's not a great heel hook. It's tough to generate that opposition when it's just sort of slowly grinding down the shape. Manages to make it work.
Yeah, and Logan fighting here just to pull up onto the lip. And his local gym crowd is letting him hear it.
I actually think that he's just sporting an Allez up tank.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's an
from
Alberta
Alberta.
climber, yeah. So he's tricked the local crowd into giving him a little extra love
Hey,
with
that's
the Allez
good.
up tank top. Any means necessary.
Some good tactics from Logan.
Or just a really cool tank top.
Both.
You can't deny the branding. Allez up, I know they put a lot of effort into their branding choices. It's something that they put at the forefront of this event. They were really looking to put on something clean, something really, really smooth. And Antoine for sure has got to focus on, he wants to put on a really good frontward-looking image for Canadian Nationals this year. And so far, I would say he's done an absolutely bang-up job of it.
Yeah, they've invested massively in these really new holds, and where we're seeing Eli right now, those dimension volumes, as I mentioned a bit earlier, are dual textured. So by no means easy holds to progress on. And I think Allez Up is, not only in their branding, but in their product. I mean, the root setting has always been a key and core component of the Allez Up experience. And we're seeing that today as well. And it's a really a legacy of root setting that has been done here that has helped Quebec climbers over the years to develop, and it's great to be here for these national championships.
Absolutely. You saw a good look from underneath of the light bouncing off the shiny texture of the dimension volumes. So now we got TJ Foley cruising up.
Yeah.
So maybe we missed one. Maybe we were over one. That was Benjamin Chapman.
That was Ben Chapman
in the Quebec jersey. You're in the Allez Up jersey. So I'm going to guess maybe Logan came off a bit early while we were focused on maybe on the end of Sophie Valence's effort.
Yeah, perhaps. And, that's the kind of stuff that happens in these, mad sort of 4 route finals. We miss it sometimes, so sorry about that, folks. But coming up on the Youth C boys route is Nathan Cito. And TJ actually sort of cruising the lower section.
He's a great climber. Also, for someone in Youth B, has been climbing for quite a long time. I remember seeing him basically as a little kid running around youth comps a few years ago. So he's been climbing since the Youth D age.
And I like his technique here. Like we saw other climbers try to put their left leg up on those small holds, but only to sort of barn door out. And TJ showing really good self-awareness and technique.
And that's a high point.
It is.
So this is TJ just locked himself in, minimum podium spot in 3rd, and is fighting for more here.
He's not done yet, folks.
This is a burly clip from that Gaston position.
Yeah, and he's got speed tomorrow, but this is his last climb of the day. He wants to go out also.
Swinging.
Yeah.
So making decisions here. Just a bit short on that big, powerful move. He should be psyched.
Yeah, good work, TJ.
Wonderful stuff.
And he needed to get high up because the next 2 competitors, if semifinals is any indication of what to expect, both Oscar Baudrin, who came in first, and Dylan Le put really strong efforts in and really went higher up than anybody else. So they'll be ones to watch in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, a couple of heavy hitters in the Youth B category. Oscar Baudrin, who won the C his last year in his last year in C. So he's got what it takes to get onto a podium. This we know.
Meanwhile, Nathan Cito getting up to the second section, the last volume of the overhang that brings us into the more vertical section of this route.
To the nest of rectangles. Oh, a slip from Nathan and a good recovery.
Yeah, he's a fighter.
Yeah.
We saw that at Youth Boulder Nationals.
Yeah,
Nathan
also
Cito is
true.
a fighter, and he's just shown it there.
You see exactly the same body position as Evangelina Briggs there, getting low and hips out. Put him in really good balance. This part of the wall is basically vertical, so hips close in is going to be your friend here.
Yeah.
Get over your feet as much as possible, especially when the feet aren't great.
And we're seeing a lot of hip mobility, focus on hip mobility through climbing training, a lot more than we used to do before. Before it was like, your fingers aren't strong enough, your upper body's not strong enough. But now it's like, you're seeing that actually keeping your hips in and being able to get your feet up high without getting away from the wall is actually a really determining factor in performance as well.
Precisely, it's about really good movement, really good mobility, and then of course you have to stack on how strong your fingers are. So at the bottom line of every equation is still, are you strong enough? Are you fit enough? Are you clever enough? Do you have the mobility? Can you read the route? And then when push comes to shove and you tie in, you still have to do the moves. So you still got to get strong, stay strong, put all those pieces together. That's how you end up on podiums.
That's
so
right.
Training is changing in the field of climbing. People are reaching out of the traditional mindset. They're getting into more Olympic-style training, more functional movement style of training. So this is proving to be what you need to do to win in your own country and then on the world stage. So we're evolving, and the sport is getting better for it.
Exactly. And Dylan Le here is getting established on these Morpho discs and opting for a left leg up. We saw TJ put his right and actually use some, you see this is where he's in a barn door situation, but Dylan is actually strong enough to hold it.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, TJ had been using some stemming technique and putting his right leg where you see Dylan's left leg.
Yeah, you're basically climbing in a bit of an open book corner here, so you can create opposition and avoid the barn door, but Dylan elected to go just punch straight up, and you saw there that able to hold the first two barn door swings, but not the third one.
Exactly. So that's where TJ's route setting, route reading abilities have helped him there.
Yep.
It's always better to opt for technique and trying to conserve energy than to use it wantonly.
Yep, absolutely. It's sometimes you can get a little bit too confident, thinking that you're stronger than the move requires, and you can just sort of casually move through it. And sometimes that bites you.
Yeah, and there's always a price to pay, as we said, right? And you, in route climbing, intelligence and route reading is absolute key. In bouldering, you can get away sometimes with, powering through a sequence that you're not necessarily doing the right way. But in routes, unless you're on a route that is way below your limit, if you're climbing at your limit, you need every kilojoule of energy that you have within your bodies and your arms to progress. And here we've got Jonah Phillips.
Really fighting to get over turn the corner here to the vertical section. Just sort of.
The crowd's behind them, and he's opting for a toe.
Just got to commit to that. Really trying to apply pressure to the left toe. You got to get your hips up a little higher to rock onto that, and that requires a little more bicep on some not very good crimps, on a not very good angle, on a dual textured hold. So you stack all those pieces of the puzzle together, and you're left working really, really, really hard. Strong effort, just not enough. So last climber on the Youth B side, Oscar Baudron from BC.
Yep.
And it's the door is open.
Yeah, and Oscar, I think, climbs really efficiently. He's done so well in this comp today, and it will be interesting to watch. He's our last climber in that category. However, in the UC boys, we have 3 climbers left, with Benjamin Liss being the next one. So Benjamin is reading his route. Meanwhile, all eyes on Oscar. How will he tackle this sort of overhanging dihedral?
Oscar sort of looked like, yeah, he's considering. So you'll see them measure out whether or not they can reach the clip. So he kind of reached up and gave it a bit of a tap just to make sure that he was going to be able to get there. And then we'll see what his decisions bring him to here. So right heel. This is where we saw TJ go high left. Oscar electing to do the same thing. Looking very, very well positioned.
Yeah.
And as they tend to do, lots of matches. Why go up right hand when you can go up left hand and match?
Oh, and
an unexpected slip, I think, from Benjamin.
yeah.
Boom. Oscar Baudrin just stuck that to secure himself the podium finish in first place.
That's right.
On the Youth B.
It's there.
Bumping TJ down to second. Dylan Lay will end up in third in this category, but we might see a top. Oscar Baudrin.
Yeah.
Big side pull moves.
I wouldn't bet against him.
Kind of an entire layback panel here.
Oh,
great stick.
Amazing moment here.
The crowd is loving this. You got to feel that he's glowing inside. Yes, everybody wants to top their final. Oscar Baudrin, well done. Top a route for the win. That kid is psyched.
Yeah, and he climbed so smoothly and efficiently. Well done to Oscar Baudrin of BC.
Won his category last year to move into Youth B. First year in Youth B, won his category, and I think he was just shy of making the open side of this draw. Only a couple holds difference between, I think Florent was in that mix too, and he was very, very close to see him getting a little bit of love from his belayer and from Antoine. Really, really good stuff. Oscar Baudrin.
Yeah.
Bien joué.
So 2 climbers left. We've got Cole McLeod and Emmanuel Derima.
And I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'm not a betting man. If I'm a betting man, my money is on Emmanuel Derima, Manny.
Oh boy.
Topping this route.
Oh boy, Pete, I can't bet against him either.
I'm putting it out there. Manny Derima has shown only the ability to top routes all weekend.
But we've got this guy here on the wall, you know, Cole McLeod.
Yep.
He's done well in the Boulder Comp earlier this year at Block Shop, and he's got a wide repertoire of movements.
He's coming for boulders in Etobicoke, if I'm not mistaken, in Ontario. Working through this. I really love the way they pieced these volumes together. They're not quite a hand jam, but you can get some interesting opposition in there. Just makes the footwork more difficult. If they move those volumes farther apart, you have a ledge for your feet. The way they're sitting now, you only have a triangle to step on. So it's really, really cool to watch route setters create small holds from big holds. Back in the day, there was a lot of small holds, and you stepped on little holds, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
And now the route setters have all these ginormous holds to work with, and then we ask them to make small positions out of those big holds. So aesthetically, you get a lot of visual impact, but not a lot of climbing surface.
So Cole is reading this in, I think, what is the most difficult
oh my goodness
method.
That's just a
in
bad
reaching out.
sloper.
Yeah, right hand first. Allez.
Cole, reel it in, Cole.
Allez, Cole.
He's going to go back to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big pull. Goes for the match. You see him looking straight up. Sort of head shake. Don't know what to do there, coach.
Yeah.
It's a tough break for a young man, but
all those things, you know, they add up, and those are life experiences that you can build upon to grow.
absolutely.
So, you know, once again, you know, congratulations to all the competitors, regardless of their, you know, standings, where they're at right now. Once the final is over, these kids have come in here. They've also been training for the last, I don't know how many weeks, but
A lot of weeks.
a lot of
these
time,
guys
a lot
have
of sweat and blood.
Yep, a few tears. Some
Yeah.
of these guys and girls have been training since, September. I know the tryouts in Calgary start in July because the first comps are in September. So you got to, if your team in July, you got to start training in August, and you're competing in August, in September and October. It's a long season in Canada. Something maybe we need to work on over time. I don't have the answer, but I know the CEC has been really working hard on their scheduling, really working hard on the way they're putting the season together. They don't want these climbers to be climbing from September until June, just to have a month off and do it all again. So we maybe shorten the season a bit, maybe compress the competition schedule. But for now, these guys have been climbing for a long season, but they put a lot of work in. Got a lot of fitness coming out. And we get Manny Derima to close out the first half of the finals.
Yeah, and Manny came in second last year for the C category. Was bested only by a climber we've just seen, Oscar Baudrin,
Exactly.
who's just won B.
Yep.
So, you know,
This is
Emmanuel
his
has been climbing so well all weekend long, has won speed yesterday as well. So let's hope for the best for Manny. I know he can do this.
So this is going to be the moment. So this is sort of the first crux of entry into this section of the route, and he's done it quite cleanly. Just got to keep your feet under you. Horrible smearing layback. I'm a little worried about this decision.
Yeah, it does not go right. But he just figured that out by himself really quickly.
He's testing, right?
Yeah.
He's sort of, maybe I can grab that. Maybe they don't want me to, and I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, and I think just by virtue of him being where he is right now, he's secured it.
Yep.
But that's not enough for Emmanuel Derima.
No, this man wants a top.
And so really looking really comfortable on what is a rather tenuous section. And we saw Evangelina Briggs get to this point for the Youth C girls earlier on today.
She made this next move, but no farther. So Manny securing the crimp. Gonna get bendy. Oh, wow. Really good stuff, Manny Derima. Have you got a top in you? Have you got a top? Tiny little crimp guarding the finish. Big push.
And there you go. Amazing climbing, and he's just so psyched.
He's psyched.
Emmanuel Derima is your Youth C Boys champion for 2019 here at Alley
with a top.
He topped his semi-route, and you know, earlier today, if you go back to see that semi-route, I mean, no one solved the crux like he did.
No one did.
No one did, and he just topped this route like, wow, just great route reading skills, great adaptability, amazing flexibility in getting his left leg up.
Yep, and some really good hand strength to boot.
the total package.
The total package, absolutely. We're going to keep our head up before we get hit with T-shirts thrown around by Francois.
Yeah, he's got a good throwing arm.
He does have a good arm, unless he's got an assistant throwing for him. He does. So don't go far. We only had a couple of definite podium knowledge. The rest is you're going to want to see the results. So they're going to be able to do the results very, very quickly. Comp season's got things dialed in. 7:15 now. I think the official podium is meant to come in at 6:15. No, maybe they're going to do it in a little bit. So they're scheduled to have finished at 8, but of course we're way ahead of that. But they only essentially need about 15 minutes. So we're just going to go pause for a little bit. We're going to turn the sound off here. We're going to come back for the podium. So don't go far. Keep your computer on, and when you hear us perk back up again, come back into the room and have a look at the podiums. And Phil, that was exciting. That went faster than I thought it was going to. C'était bien excitant. Les finales dans les 3 catégories ici. What do you say? That was exciting climbing from talented young athletes.
I mean, the performances, just the skill level, just the overall show that they brought out was amazing. For me, it brings a smile to my face to see so much talent, and I think Canadian climbing is in good hands because you got these coaches that are preparing these awesome kids for the next level, and I think there's lots more to come for these kids.
This is the future of your sport, climbing in these categories right here. Yes, the open climbers are sort of the most dynamic. You expect them to do the best on these routes. They're big, they're strong. However, this is your future. So these categories, the C, B, the A climbers, these are the ones who are growing and getting better every year. They're benefiting from the coaching. They're benefiting from what the CEC is doing. And I love watching the junior categories climb.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing.
We had a really good time. Don't go very far. Sports Canada TV is going to be back, show you the podium. We'll see you in a little bit. Bonjour tout le monde. On a fait le retour pour les podiums.
Absolument. De retour ici à Léa. Alors, on reprend nos esprits. Et on annonce le podium pour la catégorie juvénile C.
En troisième place, c'est Taylor Galloway. In third place, Taylor Galloway. Entre la deuxième position, second place, Madeline Taylor. That's Jeff Thompson of the CEC giving out the awards. Et votre gagne, what word am I looking for?
Championne.
La championne, votre championne de Juvenile C, your winner, Youth C women, Evangelina Briggs.
Yeah, she climbed really well on this technical route that they had set up here, and actually got on the final panel where only Emmanuel Derima
Exactly.
got. So, you know, showing how much strength and technique she's got. So
Maximum respect.
All right, for men, the category C now. In third place for Quebec, Maxime Tellin.
Donc, en troisième position pour la catégorie juvénile C du côté des hommes, c'est Maxime Terrien. Et en deuxième place, Nathan Cito. So Nathan Cito from True North coming in second place. He had a big fight to stay up on the wall, and it was an inspiring effort. And in first place, to the applause, is Emmanuel Derima, who's been climbing, you know, really inspired climbing from Emmanuel. Technical, you know, powerful. It's the whole package. We've said it.
Composed, yep. All those bits and pieces. You see, boys.
2019 podium.
All right, I believe that's going to take us to the Youth C or Youth B girls podium. If they continue with the same format. Yes, en troisième place, third place, you have Mia Laprise.
Oui, du centre délire. Alors Mia qui a démontré pas mal d'endurance, de résistance.
En deuxième place, in second place, you have Sofiane Bertrand. Et votre champion, your winner, Youth B Girls 2019 Difficulty and Speed Championships, Emi Takashiba. So there's your Youth B Girls podium.
For national podium one in category speed.
Big smiles.
Yeah, good job on these girls.
Thanks, girls. All right, the boys, category B. Pour le Québec en troisième position, Dylan Lee.
Donc en troisième position, Dylan Le. Alors, très belle saison pour Dylan qui a performé tant sur le bloc qu'en voie. In second place, TJ Foley, who really had some great route reading skills in that dihedral. He had really good technique displayed. And what can we say about Oscar Baudran, who's last year's C category winner at the national championships, and now he's reeling in the same thing for category B.
Oh, and they're going to do the podium that the girls always do.
Yes,
Share the top spot.
that's great.
Solid group of climbers right there. So that's your podium. We are going to cut away. You're going to want to refresh your feed. You're going to move on to the next stream to watch the open final, and that's going to start at 8:30. Oh. Just a minute. No, don't go anywhere yet. Sorry, as Phil pointed out, we have a list with no names, but we have the A and junior podiums to come.
Yeah, and as Pete was mentioning, though, you need to be careful because we're not going to stay on this stream. You need to find the stream for the open lead finals, and that is all, you know, something you would find on the CEC YouTube channel or on Sport TV Canada.
And I actually think they're not going to do the A and junior podiums until after the Open because, as we mentioned, the A athletes can maintain a better position against the A and junior athletes that are climbing in Open later. So that podium will not be determined until the A and junior athletes climbing in Open have finished their route. So that is all the podiums we're doing for now. Jean-Marc de la Plante is currently taking the opportunity here to thank a few people. He's one of the co-owners of Allez.
It all depends about like the live feed.
Okay, so we're kind of moving on the fly here. We're negotiating a slightly different format for the finals where we climb a single gender at a time, so we don't have two people climbing at the same time. We do one of the women, one of the men, one of the women, one of the men. That does require some juggling of time based on the athlete's preparation time. So be ready at 8:15 for the live stream to start, because if we do that, we want to start a little bit earlier so it doesn't run quite as long. So be ready for 8:15. And we'll update you social media-wise. And I might have an update just right now. Don't go far. Okay, so the long and the short of it is that we need some decisions from the athletes. We need some decisions from the CEC. It's hard to change the format at the last minute. We'll be here, Phil and I, at 8:15 if we start at 8:15. So just put a little reminder timer at 8:15, and if we're not live, it'll be 8:30. So we're not going to do anything other than one of those two things. We're either live at 8:15 or we're live at 8:30. So that's all we can tell you. As Phil was saying, go back to the list. You need to come to the link for the Open final. It's not going to be on this same stream. So nothing else to say. Phil, they were great. Wonderful finals from these climbers. Super exciting climbing. Incroyable.
Tout à fait incroyable. En fait, puis emballant, je dirais, de la part des jeunes ici, qui nous montrent que le futur, en fait, sera assurément très intéressant pour les grimpeurs canadiens.
Absolument. Donc, on va vous voir en juste un peu moins d'une heure. Donc, merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sports Canada TV. We will see you guys in just a little bit.